Good morning. This is the CBC Morning Report for Thursday, September 30th. In our top story, we dig deeper into the impact of COVID-19 on the insurance sector. Here to give us another perspective on the issue is Executive Vice President and General Manager at Sagicor Life Inc., Paul Innes. Sagicor happens to be a Barbadian company with ownership in the Caribbean and internationally, and the virus would have impacted them on a larger scale. Good morning, Mr. Innes. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Wendy, and good morning to Barbados.
Okay, first of all, has the group as yet made a decision about whether or not applications for insurance are going to be impacted by one's vaccination status?
So not at the moment, Wendy. There has been no decision made with regard to whether insurance policies will be impacted or whether those who are vaccinated or unvaccinated will be impacted by the provision of insurance cover. So from a Sagicor perspective, there's no change to the way we underwrite policies and to whom we give cover to.
Okay, and it's not likely right now, say maybe within the next 3-month window, that you will be looking to place it on your forms for new coverage, what have you. When do you expect a decision to be made on the process?
Well, I think as we get to know more and understand more about the virus and its impact on people, we know the impact in terms of its severity at the moment, but we actually don't see this much different to some of the other viruses and illnesses around. And therefore, within the foreseeable future, we don't see that we will change our approach to how we underwrite and provide cover to those who would be impacted or not.
Okay, let's move a bit away from the underwriting and look at the magnitude of your company and your employees. The fact that the COVID is spreading and with Delta now so rapid, how have you had to alter the actual operations of business to still be able to provide service to your numerous clients?
Well, we have, like all other companies or a lot of other companies, had to be innovative and flexible in how we operate as a business. And what we have done is first ensure that our people or teams are safe, and for the most part, a significant amount of our teams are working remotely, and only those that are necessary in terms of customer-facing teams are actually at our physical plant to serve those customers who have actually come to our centers and our business to be served. So from that perspective, the other thing we've had to do was to ensure that our teams are equipped and that they have all that they need in order to serve our clients remotely. That has worked out very well for us in terms of how we've been able to actually transition our teams to a remote operation, and we have taken the opportunity to actually ramp up our plans for e-commerce, and we're using digital tools and technology to actually serve our clients.
Was having to institute these new forms of technology and equip everyone to work remotely, was that a large cost factor for the company? Because, as I said, I know most of your offices are well staffed. Was it a large undertaking financially?
No, it was not a large financial cost. In some cases, we were transitioning to the use of some of these technologies. So, for example, and some of them were relatively easy and cost efficient to actually implement. So, for example, we were able to actually implement tools such as what we term as eConnect, which is our virtual customer experience service, giving our clients the ability to engage our customer service reps virtually from the comfort of their homes or anywhere they choose. With regard to our Sagicor Go mobile app, This is an app we had pre-COVID, and what we've been able to do is upgrade the functionality so that it becomes interactive and our customers can make payments both for life, general insurance, and mortgage payments. We've also improved our online payment functionality so that all of our clients now can actually make premier payments via the banking platforms and portals.
Okay, so you've made sure you're on top of things. Okay, my final question
Yes.
to you now, Mr. Innes. Everyone's talking about COVID, 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 but have you been seeing claims from your health side coming in the same way as before? Like this is the season where we have things like flu, conjunctivitis. Are those things still dominant within the scheme of things?
What I will share is that from our experience from 2020, we actually had a look at this and we actually observed a downward trend in claims for the regular flu and cold symptoms. Our observation is that the contributing factors would have been the protocols in place, so social distances, sanitizing, face coverings seem to have played a major role in that. And also less movement, less crowding and socializing, working from home and homeschooling. We are of the view that these contributed to a downward trend in claims during the pandemic and even now. So we are seeing a reduction in those claims.
Okay, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning, Mr. Innes. Do enjoy your day.
You're welcome, Wendy.
When we return, we'll have more updates on the COVID-19 pandemic. Two more Barbadians lost their battle with COVID-19 at the Harrison Point Isolation Facility yesterday. The first victim is a 52-year-old man who had no chronic illnesses and was unvaccinated. The second individual is an 85-year-old woman who had comorbidities and was also unvaccinated. The death toll from the virus now stands at 71. In the last dashboard, which was from Tuesday, September 28th, it therefore does not include those latest deaths, and 199 new cases were recorded. 65 of them are under the age of 18. There are now 858 people in isolation. As far as vaccinations administered are concerned, 38.3% of the population are now fully vaccinated. Health officials in Guyana fear the current spike in COVID-19 cases will continue well into October. Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, is telling Guyanese it depends on them.
We are going to see this trend of increase in cases. We'll see that for the next couple of weeks, I would imagine. But again, if people start taking more precautions, I think we'll see a decrease in the numbers. And those precautions are very standard things that we're all acquainted with. People need to start wearing their masks properly. Too many persons are not wearing their masks properly. They either have them under their chin or don't wear them at all. That's not going to protect you. And therefore, mask wearing is a very important way of preventing yourself from getting COVID. We also have to get people to start, staying away from crowds, not being in crowded areas, trying to minimize how many people they are with in an indoor space, especially those unventilated spaces. So this is something that we got to get people to adopt in a different attitude. And unless they do that, unfortunately, we are going to see more cases.
The new Bahamian government intends to move forward with its campaign promise to end the state of emergency. Attorney General Ryan Pinder says legislation to replace the orders will be ready by the time the current order ends in November.
The state of emergency, which is set to expire in just over a month, has been in place since the first case of COVID-19 was confirmed in the Bahamas in March 2020. It empowers the Prime Minister as competent authority to impose restrictions such as curfews, lockdowns, and border closures to curb the spread of the virus in country. While in opposition, Philip Brave Davis promised to end the emergency orders. When asked if the new administration has sufficient time to bring the PLP's plan to fruition, Pinder said this.
I am the Attorney General. I am a man of action, and if that is my mandate, that will happen.
Pinder did not mention what would happen to a bill tabled in August by the former administration to put in place a statutory framework to mitigate public health emergencies. However, he said the government will set up a legal framework to manage the COVID-19 pandemic and any further pandemics that may affect the Bahamas.
We look to pass legislation whereby we can manage a pandemic in a transparent and predictable way for the Bahamian people, rather than an ad hoc approach from emergency order to emergency order. That one gives Bahamian businesses no notice on how they're going to operate, and that gives Bahamian citizens no notice on how they're going to conduct their daily lives.
YouTube is banning channels associated with several prominent anti-vaccine activists. The move comes as YouTube and other tech giants like Facebook and Twitter have been criticized for not doing enough to stop the spread of false health information.
Any videos related to vaccines, including those against measles or chickenpox, will be taken down if they claim the jabs are ineffective or dangerous. YouTube had resisted policing content too heavily, but it's been blamed for letting skepticism of widely used and life-saving shots spread. Channels associated with prominent anti-vaccine activists can also be removed.
Time for a preview of what's coming up on Morning Barbados. And for that, we say good morning to Pearson Bowen.
Good morning, Wendy Burke, and good morning, everyone. Coming up at 6:30 when you join me here on Morning Barbados, it's Thursday, so our exceptional young people will take the forum. And certainly they'll show you how education is one of the tools that they're using to leverage their trajectory towards success in life. One of them is a Jamaican young man who's a part of the Hague Parliament. He's studying public policy and management at the University of the West Indies at Mona, but he has a passion for climate change. We'll hear from him. We'll also this morning meet 3 more Chevening Scholarship awardees from Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and St. Lucia. And they're talking to us a little bit about how they're using education to make a difference to the Caribbean on their return from the UK. But it's Founders Week for Ellerslie School, and certainly we'll be glad this morning when this young lady joins us to show how she's also using all of her talent to own her own business. That and much more coming up right here on Morning Barbados. It's back to you, Wendy Burke.
Thank you, Pearson. We'll see you at the bottom of the hour, and we'll take another break and return with more news. Trading between Africa and the Caribbean is expected to begin in January next year. This as the second phase of the protocols of the Africa-Caribbean Free Trade Agreement take shape. Word of this came from President of the African Import-Export Bank, Professor Benedict Orama, at the end of 2 days of high-level meetings with government and private sector business officials.
I believe that the African Union, the AfCFTA Secretariat, the African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat, as well as the CARICOM, would find this very, very good, because that is the only way to begin to convert the intentions, the aspirations of increasing integration into something concrete.
The Africa Bank official says an Africa-Caribbean Trade Investment and Finance Facility will be put in place on their return to Africa. The delegation is in Barbados to help implement plans put in place by Prime Minister Mia Amour Motley.
We believe that is the first hurdle we must cross. So we are going to go back and get our board approve it, and look at it and consider it as quickly as possible.
A decision could be coming regarding the vaccination status of people whose jobs involve working with vulnerable people. This was alluded to by Chief Medical Officer Dr. Kenneth George during a media conference yesterday. He was responding to a question about mandatory vaccines for public health workers. Dr. George says mandating vaccines is a policy decision that acknowledges certain forms of employment may require a different approach.
Many tourists who have come to Barbados are seeking to travel in taxis where they have verification that the taxi driver has been vaccinated. I agree with that, because how could you ask an individual to come to Barbados vaccinated and then have somebody transport them who is not vaccinated? Persons who are taking care of vulnerable people in our hospitals, we have said so before, those persons should be vaccinated. And I believe, I speak under correction, the hospital is specifically addressing this issue.
Some people in isolation facilities have been resorting to violence. Head of Isolation Facilities, Dr. Corey Ford, confirmed during yesterday's media conference there have been several incidents, including fights. Dr. Ford says while it's understood that people may be frustrated, such acts will not be tolerated.
We try to hold things together for you as much as we can, but I also like to tell you this morning, despite that stress, and I said it 2 weeks ago because I saw it coming like a storm. I saw it coming. Even though you're stressing facilities, there have been some incidents in some of the facilities that have not led to some other people being comfortable in facilities. You know, people fighting. I mean, like, honestly, we got to do better than that. We are better than that as citizens of this country. To have young people fighting in facilities, when people are fighting for their life, and I see that makes no sense. Fighting, I don't think we'll tolerate.
Fumio Kishida, Japan's foreign minister, is set to become the country's next prime minister after winning a vote to lead the ruling Liberal Democratic Party. Kishida is certain to be elected the next prime minister on Monday in Parliament, where the LDP and its coalition partner control both houses.
Fumio Kishida is the new chief of Japan's governing Liberal Democratic Party. He's also set to become prime minister, as his party and coalition partner control the Houses of Parliament. It's the second time the former foreign minister has run for the leadership, after competing against outgoing Premier Yoshihide Suga last year. In his acceptance speech, Kishida promised to lead the party to success in next month's general election.
I want to firmly show a reborn Liberal Democratic Party to the Japanese citizens and urge them to support us. From today I will, with all my energy, get straight to work. Party members around the country and members of Parliament, please work with me.
A first-round vote had failed to produce a majority winner, and two female contenders dropped out of the race. In a runoff, Kishida faced Taro Kono, an outspoken minister in charge of Japan's COVID-19 vaccine rollout, who'd been ahead in opinion polls. But widely regarded as a safe pair of hands, Kishida had the support of lawmakers and beat his rival by 257 votes to 170. Analysts say Kishida's rise to the premiership is unlikely to affect defense and international relations. He supports close ties with Western democracies to counter China's growing influence in the region. On the economy, Kishida has pledged to spend big on a stimulus package and emphasized the need to distribute more wealth to households. But first, he faces a difficult challenge, a general election that has to be held by November.
What I expect to see is something ambitious like a very large stimulus package dedicated to pandemic management and the health system in general. Although, of course, nothing is really going to be implemented. There's going to be no evidence of success in time for the election. So to a large extent, Kishida is going to be selling hope and asking the electorate to trust him rather than demonstrating any concrete results there.
Kishida may be seen as a stable choice, but some analysts say his bland image may work against him in the upcoming polls.
Development plans for Instagram Kids are on hold for now, after the Wall Street Journal reported in a series of investigative articles that Facebook is aware that Instagram is harmful to the mental health of teenage girls.
Instagram is owned by Facebook, and US politicians and campaigners have been urging the company to drop its plans for Instagram Kids. Critics say Facebook and Instagram's primary focus is on physical appearance and that these platforms haven't done enough to protect children. Well, let's speak to Josh Golan. He is the Executive Director of Fair Play for Kids. He joins us now from Watertown in Massachusetts. Josh, let's start here with what's actually driving this process. I understand that Instagram Kids would have no ads. If so, what's actually to be gained from this? What's in it for Instagram?
Instagram has been really challenged in the last couple of years by TikTok and is losing some market share to among youth. And so it's not that Facebook is going to, Instagram is going to monetize these kids while they're on this Instagram youth platform, but it's about forming attachments to them. So then when they become 13, they can start making money off of them. Mm-hmm. So this is really about competition with TikTok.
Well, the pause is ostensibly to consult with people and try to find more protections for kids. Is there actually any way to make a platform like this that's so focused on physical appearance and aesthetics safe for kids at such a vulnerable age?
No, there's absolutely no reason, and we hope that Facebook will use this pause to actually consult with the hundreds of experts who signed our letter to Facebook urging them to drop this Instagram youth, who think it's a bad idea. There's no tweaks that you can make to this platform. This is a platform where kids upload pictures of themselves, often pictures that have been altered, in order to get their friends and other people to rate what they look like in those pictures. This is a platform that runs on FOMO, on fear of missing out, that where people cultivate their best lives, and that leads to people feeling bad about themselves when they see these curated lives online. There's no way to make that safe for 8-year-olds or 9-year-olds or appropriate for them. So really the safest Instagram for children is no Instagram for all, at all.
Well, you say that, but Instagram and Facebook are arguing that a specific kids platform would potentially give parents more control and oversight and also ensure more age-appropriate content. And I know, as you say, children below 13 are barred from the main Instagram, but we do know that plenty of them are on it regardless. So is this just going to drive more kids to the adult version?
No, I don't think so. I think that there are already millions of kids on the adult version of Instagram who have lied their way onto the platform who are not 13 and shouldn't be there. And what Facebook needs to be doing is doing a much better job of closing those children's accounts and of educating parents that Instagram is really not a platform for under 13 and that they don't want those kids there. What we know from child development is that those kids who are already lying their way onto Instagram, those 10, 11, and 12-year-olds, they're not going to to want to be on a platform that they consider to be babyish, a child's version of Instagram. The real audience for this is going to be kids who don't yet have their own Instagram accounts. So I don't buy that this is about safety for 11 and 12-year-olds. I think if Instagram is really concerned about those 11 and 12-year-olds, they should be doing a heck of a lot more to keep them off the adult version of Instagram. And as I said, I believe creating a kids version of Instagram is only going to create and hook a whole new generation of users and won't do anything to keep the kids who are already on Instagram safer.
In sports, Royal Challengers Bangalore remain strong IPL playoff contenders after they won yesterday's match against Evan Lewis and the Rajasthan Royals. Playing at Dubai International Cricket Stadium, Lewis smashed a 37-ball 58 that included 5 fours and 3 sixes, as his Royals posted 149 for 9 off their 20 overs. RCB then made light work of the target, replying with 153 for 3 off 17.1. Glenn Maxwell top scored with 50 not out that had in 6 fours and a 6. We have highlights. And the RCB are third on 14 points, while Royals are 7th on 8. And it's time now for a look at our weather picture. In Barbados right now, it's fair at 25.4 degrees Celsius, but it feels like 31. The humidity stands at 91% and the barometric pressure is 1013.9 millibars. The winds are coming from the east-southeast at 26 kilometers per hour. The tides, low tide will be at 4:58 p.m. and high tide at 12:32 p.m. The seas are smooth to moderate in open water, ranging from 1 to 2 meters and increasing. The forecast in Barbados today, it will be a mix of sunshine and clouds with scattered light to moderate showers. Tonight is expected to be a mix of clear skies and clouds with a few brief scattered light showers. And here's now a look at our international cities. That was today's morning report. You can join us again at noon for Newsday. It's now over to Pearson for Morning Barbados.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Welcome to Thursday, the 30th of September 2021, the last day of the month of September. Grateful for your company. I am Pearson Bowen, welcoming all of you here in Barbados watching us on your TV screens, and to those of you across the globe watching us either on our YouTube channel or our Facebook streams as well. Thank you. Welcome to today, Thursday, our Exceptional Youth Day, the day when we celebrate the greatness of our young people and the exploits in which they're engaging. A number of them are heading out to study, a number of them are also studying, but they are doing great things for the Caribbean region in which we live and eventually impacting the world. So today we meet a couple of three Chevening Scholarship awardees from St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Antigua and Barbuda. We meet a young lady who is part of the Ellerslie School who's been doing great things with craft, and she's now opened her own business. And we'll also meet a young lady who is a human resource manager and a public relations officer as well. What is she up to? We'll meet her in just a little while. But let's get started by meeting a young man from Jamaica who is one of the Hay parliamentarians. He has a specialty in public policy and management with the University of the West Indies at Mona. Good morning to you, Jamoy Phillips.
Good morning, good morning.
Thank you for joining us this morning, Jamoy. It's a day in which we celebrate exceptional young people, and you're one of them. Let's talk a little bit about your involvement in the Hay Parliament. Why did you decide to throw your hat into joining with the Hay Parliament?
All right, so firstly, I am a climate change advocate back home, and this would be an opportunity for me to contribute on a larger platform, as well as to harness my skills and develop it better. I'm studying public policy and management, as you have mentioned, and a parliament setting is something that I'm going to have to get used to, regardless of where I fall within the governance structure when I would have completed my studies. Ideally, I'd like to become a permanent secretary, which still means that I would have to develop some familiarity. Also, it's an opportunity to do further investigation within the legal framework of fighting climate change, because we would have to prepare our scripts for the parliament and so forth, and would have also received training as it relates to that. So it was an opportunity for me to develop myself better as a climate change advocate, and that's something that I like. I like development. I like to push myself beyond boundaries, and the Hay Parliament provided that for me.
You say you're a climate change advocate in Jamaica. How old are you, and at what stage and age did you get turned on to be a climate change activist?
All right, so I'm currently 22 years of age. I would have started with some small things around 12, 13, because I was a student of the sciences. I'm originally a student of the sciences. I'm also a Seventh-day Adventist, and through our Pathfinder system, we teach environmental conservation and how to care for the environment, and that's something that always stood out to me. And I being a man of the Bible, I like the Garden of Eden setting, so it was something that piqued my interest, as well as my family is originally from the rural area. So it's as if I was born to be a climate change advocate, because I love nature, I love all things nature. And yeah, if I love nature, then I'm going to try my best to protect nature. So I've always been speaking in favor of climate change, in favor of things anti-climate change rather. And it would have continued until I would have gotten an actual platform through UWI Stat here at UWI Mona campus. So, and that would have been last year. So really and truly, when everything blew up to the point where most persons know me for climate change, it would have been last year.
What examples in Jamaica around you do you see that could tell you clearly that climate change is impacting the way of life, the whole climate atmosphere in Jamaica? What do you see around you?
All right. So, firstly, we have increased heat as it relates to agriculture. As I said, my family is from the rural area, agricultural background, and we have seen where the crops that are being produced, some of them are not coming out to full quality in terms of what we're used to, and that would be because of excessive heat, also because of change diverse weather patterns, sometimes you don't get any crops because you'd have just experienced flooding in a time frame that you're not used to experiencing heavy rainfalls, and therefore we have uncertainty. We are yeah, you just said the food supply would be uncertain because this time you'll follow what you know you're supposed to be doing as a farmer, and you would reap your rewards, and then the next time it doesn't come to fruition because of the increased heat, increased rainfall. When it does happen, another time that you will not have any rainfall, so the crops that would have been planted wouldn't have gotten sufficient water to actually come to fruition. So those are things that you can see physically that have impact everything. Also, you have seen an insurge of various health diseases, and persons don't know, but there is a link between the change in the climate and some of these actual diseases, such the higher incidence in asthma, which I am an asthmatic patient. So these are things that we see.
How then are you using, you say you're an advocate, but how are you getting your voice heard so that we can see the change that you're advocating for?
All right, so as I said, I would have worked to use that mainly, and now I would have been working through the Hey campaign. And what I do is here in Jamaica, I mainly push my advocacy through social media and forums. I would have held forums on the UA level, the local level, national level, and regionally and internationally. I would have been participating in these forums. I would have had graphics and creative videos that would have been shared in order to captivate the attention of persons. A lot of persons sometimes, after seeing the content that my team and I would have prepared, they would have said, oh, they didn't know this and so forth, and it would then again bring more traction to allow more persons to want to invite me to other forums to give various talks as it relates to climate change and how to mitigate waste disposal and so forth.
When you look at, because you're a university now, Mona campus, and when you look at other young men your age and see how they operate, how they move, do you get the sense that they are taking climate change, they're taking life as seriously as you are?
No, honestly, no. A lot of persons are still oblivious to the fact that, despite the very clear warnings, they're oblivious that climate change is real. Some persons are contemplating it. Every year they say, whoa, this year feels hotter than the last, and no one sits to actually think things out or to actually investigate why is that so. And for the younger population, like my age group, you have persons who would actually say, well, they know that it exists by virtue of them being taught it, they can feel the effects, but as it relates to trying something out to combat the rising change in the climate, no, they're not that active. You have a very few youths, and I call the selected few that are actually passionate about the environment. And yeah, it's just a few of us, and I wish that it wasn't so, but it is so. And you know, if we had more voices, then it would be easier to deal with the issues.
So you know part of the change rests with you. You have the energy for it. So what do you want other young people now to do, to start doing, to start focusing on, so that they are too a part of the movement of change?
All right, so one, what do you do as a youth in terms of your contribution? So look at how you live your lifestyle and things that you know you can cut back on, how you can conserve, how you can help to protect your physical space and your surrounding around you. 2, education. Get yourself educated first. So, and then after you would have gotten this level of education, you can go and educate others, which is 3. So 1, your actions will determine everything. Then you need to be raising awareness, and after raising awareness and having action, then is when the advocacy comes in play.
Well, Jamal, you're such a passionate young man for a lot of it. You know, I don't know where you find the time because you're also the Vice President with responsibility for disaster mitigation and climate change of the UE Students Today, Alumni Tomorrow, Vice Chancellors, Ambassadors Corps. You're here parliamentarian.
What's that? Of correction. I'm currently the president for Youth at Mona.
Oh,
so I have to
great.
coordinate everything, including
Congratulations.
the disaster mitigation and climate change.
Congratulations. You're a Hay Ambassador. You're studying public policy and management at the Mona campus. You're a Seventh-day Adventist. You are just a Garden of Eden young man. And so what do you do for fun, Jamoy?
Oh, what do I do for fun? I guess more work. Honestly, I like to keep myself engaged and doing more. Before the pandemic hit, I would have been playing football for fun, and I like to socialize and have basically intellectual conversations that, you know, will aid you for the future and challenge your mind in terms of thinking out solutions. I'm solution orientated, and those are things that attract me. I'm not really, like, you know, most persons will like to sit down and watch a little show and so forth, and or play a video game and so forth. That's not my niche. That I don't find much pleasure in it, especially because I can predict the plot. I know that the game has an ending and how things are supposed to go. So I can't work in situations like that. Like things that like that challenge me and I can't control.
Yes. Jamoy, I get it. Jamoy Phillips of Jamaica. Thank you so much for joining us today. You are, for us, one of our exceptional young people of the Caribbean. And for us here in Barbados, there's much we've learned from you this morning. There's much more we can learn from you by your exploits as well. We can't wait to see what else happens in the life and times of Jamoy Phillips. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. Keep the great work up. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome. Jamoy Phillips, one of the Hay ambassadors in the Hay campaign by Ashley Lashley, doing great work, bringing greater awareness about climate change and how what we do impacts climate and what we now need to do so that we can bring about the kind of change we'd like to see in our climate. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, another one of our exceptional young people. It's now 15 minutes to go to the hour of 7 o'clock. It is, after all, Youth Week here in Barbados as well, and we are celebrating the greatness of our young people. You would have just seen ways in which you can engage with the Division of Youth in what's happening all week long. And so today, we're also celebrating the excellence of Joselle Jean-Pierre, who is a Human Resources and Public Relations Officer with Outsourced Services. Good morning to you, Joselle.
Hi, morning.
How are you doing today?
I am good, and yourself?
I'm doing very well, thank you for asking. What is outsourced?
Okay, so Outsourced Services is a virtual HR and business consultancy which provides support to growing companies here in Barbados. Our aim is to help our clients reach their optimum performance level, and in doing so, we try to utilize creative methods to help them equip themselves with the strategic tools they need to achieve their goals and objectives.
You're 21 years old. Quite young.
Yes, please.
I mean, from where I sit, you are
Yeah.
quite young. And here it is, you're taking on the responsibility of human resources and public relations for outsource help and helping companies to leverage their human assets to make a difference. Why did you choose this as your path?
Okay, well, growing up, I always wanted to help people. In addition to that, management was always a lifestyle for me from pretty young. I always tell myself, well, if I needed to go forward and do something, I need to manage my time, I need to manage my money. So combining the two, I didn't want to be a psychologist. So after doing much research, I said, you know what? Human resource management is for me. I get to help people. I still get to do management. This is the perfect career for me. As it relates to PR, I actually had no interest prior in doing PR. It was never
Yes.
anything that I looked into. But after working alongside Research Stewart, the co-founder of Outsourced Services, we share the same vision, the same passion for HR. And she realized, I love to speak. So she said, Joseph, how do you feel about going forward as the PR for outsourced services? So, I challenge. Everything is a challenge.
Would they say
Yes,
you're
please.
would they say you're bossy?
No, 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 no.
Mm,
No,
no, no,
please.
no, no. Okay, fair
Bossy,
enough.
far from.
Because you kept saying the word manage, manage, manage. And so you're studying management now at the University of the West Indies as well,
Yes, please.
and it is just so interesting. That's why I had to ask you that question. Would you been considered bossy? Because a lot of the passion you have too is for education and young people, building that foundation. Why that as one of your passions?
I believe the foundation always starts at a pretty young age. And for myself, building that management foundation from a young age, it helped develop me at this age right now. So I believe that if you go into schools as young as, 7 years old, you're never too young to learn. So I
Hmm.
believe, besides teaching the basic language arts and social studies, we can go forward and teach them the basics of management, the basics of business, the basics of managing your money. So when they do grow up, they understand how to go out in the workforce, go into their lives and, have a sturdy foundation as they go forward.
At 21, you have a very much clearer lens than I do at my older age. So when you look at how human resource management is practiced at the moment and how people are recruited for positions and employment, what would you like to see change?
Okay, well, I know some individuals, as I sat in class doing my HR course last semester, a lot of individuals were saying, I sent in my CV, I didn't get a response, no one updating me on, if I got the job or not. So I guess going forward, that is something that I would like to change as it relates to screening, shortlisting, recruitment selection, even if it is not a direct email, but on the application itself, when you read it, you say, well, within the first week or so, if you don't get a response, you know that you weren't selected. That is something that I would
Hmm.
definitely try to go forward and do. Because I actually faced that too, sending out some CVs.
I want to look now at the ratio from your perspective now as a human resource management practitioner, the ratio between the qualification, as in the certificates, and the ability to do the job uncertificated, to use that word that Miss Bucket would have used in one of her episodes as well. So talk to us about what you see to have to be the ratio there when it comes to deciding which candidate is best suitable.
Okay, well, I can use myself as an example. I had all the qualifications but no experience going into outsourced services. However, when you are able to go forward and meet with an individual outside of their having listed experience, you're then able to understand the individual for who they are and the qualities or the skills that they have. When you are doing interviews, if it's for you or it's for a client, the aim is to understand the culture of the organization. and what they are looking for, who they are looking for to meet their goals, meet their objectives for their company. So once you understand that and you go into the interviews and you start to do the process, you kind of understand or picked up on who the individual is and how they would then go forward and fit into the organization. It's all about who the individual is, what they have to offer, even though they don't have the experience. It's nice to have something fresh and new in the organization.
Something fresh and new in the organization. You're right, that spark that says, hey, it's a different approach. But because a lot of young people your age and perhaps younger or older are saying that they're frustrated because oftentimes they see the advertisements that say they want these degrees or this level of certification plus these number of years of experience. And so the frustration is that you just can't get your foot into the door. And so you're advocating to any employer today is look at each application and look at each person who presents on that application in totality, not simply based on the level of qualification alone.
Yes, please. That's correct.
Right. So I've got you right. Go ahead.
What I would say is that there is more to someone beyond what they have on a CV, what they have on a paper. Sometimes you have to go if you're good and say, you know what? Yeah, they don't have the experience, but let's give it a shot. Let's see what they're about, what they can offer.
You're right. If I were to say to you today, I have had no formal training in what I do, would you believe me? Watch your answer, watch. And I'm saying that, I'm putting that out there because it's the truth. I've never had any formal training in broadcasting. I've been doing it for a little while, and I don't think I'm doing too badly. But and that's the whole point. There are people who come with natural abilities at what they do, and they too deserve an opportunity to show what they can do, because it will startle you at the difference that they can bring to what it is that you want them to do. Now, one of the things that you say you live by, one of those principles is, with every Goliath that stands before you, be the David. What do you mean by that?
Yes, please. As you go through life, you always face some difficulty, but at the day, you shouldn't be fearful of it. You should tackle it. Be David. Be the stone. You understand? So my take on life is that whether it be extremely difficult or just difficult, put my best foot forward and try to overcome the situation. Person, chat, place, situation, whatever it is, try to overcome it.
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of times, especially men, young men, become frustrated, and so the vision changes. You're not quite seeing in the same way, so you take on a different approach, and you're saying, no, don't adopt that different approach, adopt a different approach. So what do you say to young men as a human resources practitioner today? What do you say to young men who are trying to position themselves and feel as though sometimes the world is unfair towards them?
Don't give up. Don't give up.
Simple.
That's just the statement. Don't give up.
And they say to you, I hear you, Joselle, that's easier said than done. So what do you want me to do? What would you say then?
Well, I could give myself as an example to those who are listening. Earlier this year in April, I sent out plenty of CVs to organizations, and I was constantly hearing, oh, we can't take you, COVID is rising. And I felt a bit discouraged, but at the end of the day, I know what I wanted. Once you have a goal, what I would say to y'all is set a goal. Once you have that goal in place and you want to achieve that goal, nothing that is thrown at you will distract you from it. So although I was discouraged, I still had my goal. I still went for it, and I sent out CVs on top of CVs on top of CVs, and that period was very devastating and long. But at the end of it, luckily, one of the persons that I sent my CV to referred me to Research, and from there I started my career here at Outsource.
That is such a beautiful story indeed. So much so that you're determined to study management, but you're also with a concentration on international business. You're not just focusing on this place alone, you're focused on reaching out beyond here. Now, I'm told that you also like trying different foods at different restaurants. You're my kind of girl. You're my kind of girl. So talk to me a little bit about that. Why do you love doing that?
I mean, who doesn't like to eat? Who doesn't like to try different foods? But in itself too, I like to try different cultures, understand different cultures. I think, combining different cultures together give you a different
Yes, perspective.
vision as it relates to dealing with people in organizations. So everything that I do always links back to management. As I said, management is a lifestyle.
Indeed it is. And you're so right. I think, and that's why I think travel is so important, especially for younger people, to get out there and experience different places, the different views of life that other people have, and then to be able to understand and blend it with yours to make the better you. So I completely agree with you to try different cultures, try different things, be in different spaces, experience different things, all for your better good, not to adopt the negative aspects of those different cultures necessarily, but to just try new things and see what happens. You never know until you try.
Yeah.
And so that's really good. So how good are you now at making smoothies, by the way? Don't answer me, right? We know so much about you, Jose Jean-Pierre. There's a lot we know about you. But we hope that one day in trying your hand at the smoothies, you can share that first taste with us. We can critique it for you and perhaps give you some guidance. I love it indeed. Well, we want to congratulate you on all you've been able to achieve. We know your studies continue, and something tells us because of your focus, you're going to do very, very well, Jose Jean-Pierre. You are at the moment the Human Resources and Public Relations Officer for your company, Outsourced Services. And we just want to wish you the very best, Joselle, going forward. For us this morning, you're one of our exceptional young people. Continue being creative, continue inspiring, continue turning on the light for those with whom you interact as well. And of course, you're always reminding us to be strategic, just as your company stands for. Being creative, strategic, and all of those things. Making the right start, finding the right one. Thank you very much so much, Joselle, for joining us this morning. Continue doing well.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Morning Barbados will continue right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's 7 o'clock, time for us to take another look at the news. Here is Wendy Burke.
Thank you, Pearson. Trading between Africa and the Caribbean is expected to begin in January next year. This as the second phase of the protocols of the Africa-Caribbean Free Trade Agreement take shape. Word of this came from President of the African Import-Export Bank, Professor Benedict Orama, at the end of 2 days of high-level meetings with government and private sector business officials.
I believe that the African Union, the AfCFTA Secretariat, the African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat, as well as the CARICOM, would find this very, very good, because that is the only way to begin to convert the intentions, the aspirations of increasing integration into something concrete.
The Africa Bank official says an African Caribbean trade investment and finance facility will be put in place on their return to Africa. The delegation is in Barbados to help implement plans put in place by Prime Minister Mia Motley.
We believe that is the first hurdle we must cross. So we are going to go back and get our board approve it, and look at it and consider it as quickly as possible.
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres will open the 15th session of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development in Barbados on Monday. The four-day conference, hosted by the Government of Barbados, will be held in a hybrid format, with events in Barbados, Geneva, and across the world under the theme From Inequality and Vulnerability to Prosperity for All. Heads of state and government, senior UN officials, leaders of intergovernmental organizations, top trade experts, prominent development principals, and thinkers from around the world will share their vision of the solutions required, including the role of trade in forging a more inclusive and sustainable way forward. UNCTAD Secretary General Rebecca Grinspan says the UN Secretary General's opening of UNCTAD 15 signals the great importance that the United Nations places on addressing the urgent trade and development needs of developing countries as they work to recover from the COVID-19 crisis. The opening ceremony will also feature welcome addresses by Barbados Prime Minister Mia Motley and President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya. YouTube is banning channels associated with several prominent anti-vaccine activists. The moves come as YouTube and other tech giants like Facebook and Twitter have been criticized for not doing enough to stop the spread of false health information.
Any videos related to vaccines, including those against measles or chickenpox, will be taken down if they claim the jabs are ineffective or dangerous. YouTube had resisted policing content too heavily, but it's been blamed for letting skepticism of widely used and life-saving shots spread. Channels associated with prominent anti-vaccine activists can also be removed.
Their battle with COVID-19 at Harrison Point Isolation Facility yesterday. The first victim is a 52-year-old man who had no chronic illnesses and was unvaccinated. The second individual is an 85-year-old woman who had comorbidities and was also unvaccinated. The death toll from the virus now stands at 71. In the latest dashboard, which was from Tuesday, September 28th, which therefore does not include those latest deaths, 199 new cases were recorded. 65 of them are under the age of 18. There are now 858 people in isolation. As far as vaccinations administered are concerned, 38.3% of the population are fully vaccinated. And for those of you wanting to get vaccinated, the centers open today, Thursday, are at Building Number 2, Harbor Industrial Park. That will be from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Also operating from 9:30 until 2:30 are the Mile and a Quarter Seventh-day Adventist Church in St. Peter, the Christchurch Parish Church Hall in Church Hill, Christchurch, and Princess Margaret Secondary School in 6 Road, St. Philip. You are asked to walk with your identification card if you're receiving a first dose. Those who are receiving their second should walk with their blue vaccination card. And there will also be some pop-ups across the island today. The Holy Innocents Church Hall at Welchman Hall in St. Thomas from 9 until 4. The Barbados Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union Limited on Belmont Road from 1 until 5. And the Indian Ground Resource Center from 1 until 5 p.m. So, all 3 vaccines are available for you: AstraZeneca, Sinopharm, and Pfizer. So, and also there's a final one, the Drax Hall Resource Center in St. George, as well as the Lime Grove Cinemas if you are in the north of the island, Lime Grove, Old Town, St. James will be open from 10 until, the west of the island will be open from 10 until 4. Lime Grove and Drax Hall Resource Centers. So that's it from us here. It's back over to Pearson for Morning Barbados.
Thank you, Wendy. It's 6.5 minutes after 7 o'clock. We are going to take a break here and we are back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So it's moved on to 8.5 minutes after 7 o'clock. Time for today's Crumbs question of the day. It is so simple. I'm not even going to show you the question. We're not even going to tell you the question, but you can call me. I promise you it's so simple and painless. So call me now on 228-5562 or 228-5563. An easy way for you to win with Crumbs today. Call me. I'll talk with you just a little bit. I'll give you the question, which I guarantee you're going to be able to answer correctly at first shot. So 228-5562 or 228-5563. Let's make it easy for you to win this morning. Let's do it. Let's call and find out what you're thinking this morning as well. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Time for today's Crumbs question of the day. So let's see if we can get you on the phone. Good morning to you. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. You sound very far. What happened? Good morning.
Good morning.
Help me, technical crew, because I can hear her by you. Okay, ma'am, where are you? Let's try for another call because we're having some technical difficulties with that indeed. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Simple question. Give me a call, we chat, and then I'll give you the question, and you will give me the correct answer, I can tell you. So let's see. Good morning. Hello.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you doing?
Not too bad, and you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you for asking. Where are you watching us from this morning?
St. Michael.
All right, where exactly in St. Michael are you?
The Ivy.
Oh, you're just down the hill from us. The Ivy. How long you been living there now?
So many years now.
You can't even remember.
60-somebody years now.
What? You've been there a full lifetime, man. But so therefore you've seen all the changes and all the developments in the area.
Right.
Do you remember what it was as a little girl growing up in the Ivy?
Well, so much things had changed, but back then you come out, they had TV and stuff. You had to go in your neighbor, watch television. Who had any TV and that kind of thing?
Yes.
They had to bring water.
I remember those days. I didn't have to bring water, but I remember the days when the pipe gone off, as we say, when there's no water flowing through the taps. And I, as a little boy growing up in Hope Road, St. Lucie, had to travel all the way up to River Bay
Go.
catch water, and travel all the way back down to Hope Road to bring
Yeah.
water for the house. So I know how that goes. I know, given the pandemic, you don't get a chance to go to church now, right?
No.
You miss it?
Well, I didn't used to go there regular, to be honest.
At least you're honest. What's your first name?
Margaret.
Margaret, pleasure meeting you this morning. Margaret, I have a very simple question for you. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. So, Margaret, your question is, what is the capital of Barbados?
Bridgetown.
Margaret, what's the capital of Barbados?
The capital of Barbados?
Uh-huh. Margaret, you changing your answer on me?
It ain't Bridgetown.
Don't ask me questions. You believe it's Bridgetown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Margaret, you're right. Don't let me pressure you. You're absolutely right, Margaret. Bridgetown is the capital of Barbados. Spell Bridgetown for me.
Bridgeton.
Margaret, you're still a good girl. Spelling was one of your favorites at school, right?
Well, not the big lot of words, but I could spell something.
Margaret, I so enjoyed talking to you this morning. Thank you so much for answering correctly. You stay right there on the phone. Don't put down. Don't put down. Margaret is correct. Margaret of the Ivy in St. Michael, absolutely correct in saying to me that Bridgetown is the capital city of Barbados, and she spelled it correctly as well. Living there in the Ivy over 60-some years, a whole lifetime for some of us, really indeed. So congratulations to her. Be it God's will, we have another Crumbs question of the day tomorrow. We're coming back with another one of our exceptional youth after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It is now 15 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Exceptional Youth Thursday for the 30th of September 2021. Our next exceptional young person is one of the Chevening Scholarship awardees. Her name is Malaika Goodwin, and she's from Antigua and Barbuda. Malaika, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning, Pearson.
How are you doing?
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. Now, Malaika, first of all, congratulations. You have been awarded a Chevening Scholarship. That is a prestigious award. What does it mean to you?
Pearson, to tell you the truth, I am elated. This is something that I have dreamt about since right after UB, when I finished in 2012. And to have been able to realize that dream is really great for me. I am really enthused and I'm very excited to start this academic journey.
So why did you at all apply for the Chevening Scholarship?
Well, to be honest with you, I knew I wanted to do my master's degree. And when I was looking around for options and I looked at the tuition, my eyes popped out. There were at least 50,000 EC dollars for a year study. And I knew that I would not be able to afford that. So just off the top of my head, I knew that I needed to get a scholarship to achieve this goal of mine.
Yeah, education.
When I started looking around, I discovered Chevening. But what pops out to me about Chevening more than any other scholarship is just the amount of networking that Chevening really emphasizes. They want you to be a great networking before applying, and you're going to talk about that in your essays. They want you to talk about that in your interview as well. And they also encourage you to continue networking with scholars, alumni in the UK, with your university students. So I think that really popped out to me more than any other scholarship, because networking is so important.
Yes.
I mean, being in the working world, I recognize the importance of network contacts in achieving your goals, and just bringing about change, positive change, because you can't do change, you can't bring about change alone. You need persons, and the ability to network with persons to bring about those goals is very important. And so that really stood out to me about Chevening. And so I decided to apply.
You are definitely a great ambassador based upon how you've explained what you're doing there fantastically. Malika Goodwin, a Chevening scholar from Antigua and Barbuda. You will be pursuing your master's in forensic accounting at the University of Portsmouth. Why did you choose there?
Yes. Well, for a number of reasons. I did some deep diving on University of Portsmouth's website, and I realized that the experts in the field are right there at Portsmouth. So if I want to be the top of my game in terms of realizing my career goals, I think that Portsmouth, being at Portsmouth and being surrounded by these experts, that would just give me the edge over everybody else. So that was the first reason. And the second reason was because Portsmouth, I felt, matched not only just my career goals, but what I wanted from the degree. Yes, I want to study forensic accounting, but I recognize that data analysis is very important. It's something that's lacking in my country, and I want to be able to contribute to that, as well as bringing about compliance in every sphere, not only in where I work at Inland Revenue, but in other spheres like against money laundering, in bank regulation. And so especially those two aspects, data analysis and compliance, I found that University of Portsmouth really focused and really emphasized that, and so I chose them.
You chose there. So
yeah,
you work with the Inland Revenue there in Antigua and Barbuda. Well, and are you already in England, by the way?
Yes, I am.
Good. So you would have worked with at the time. And while working with the Inland Revenue, you played a very critical role in a whole host of things: the implementation and enforcement of various taxes, particularly unincorporated business tax, which I know does a loophole a lot of people tend to go through, and entertainment taxes. But you also initiated and managed projects that brought great benefits to the organization as well. Could you share a little bit of what you would have done, that you would have initiated?
Well, one of the things, I'm passionate about compliance. I'm passionate about data as well. But in my passion about compliance, I recognize something in that persons can't be compliant if they don't know things. So with taxation, with money laundering, with anything that requires compliance, the persons need to know what's going on in order to be compliant. So what I found at the department is that we had a lot of work to do in terms of education. I mean, there is a department, a taxpayer services division, but you have to come in and get it explained. And while that is good, you need information out there that persons can get access to. And so what I did, I collaborated with my colleagues to start on a small scale, and we started with digital media and social media, and we got the Facebook and Instagram active. We're currently working on the website as well. So persons, if they need to know anything about any of the taxes, it is right there at the click of a button. I mean, we're in a digital age, we're in an information age, and for us not to have those kind of avenues for persons to know things, no, it didn't sit well with me. So that was one of the greatest projects that I embarked on, and I had a lot of support. So, yeah,
you're very
that was
pleased
it.
with the outcome. Now, the Caribbean is
Yes,
always
I am.
often finding itself in the crosshairs of international agencies that look at us and our tax regimes and almost
Right.
exposes us and embarrasses us on the global stage. How do you see what you're going to study at forensic accounting aiding us in the region so that we don't have to go through those hurdles from time to time?
That's a very good question, and actually, that is my aim, to help us get over those hurdles. One, I should mention that project that I just spoke about. We were evaluated. The department was evaluated by an international agency, and one of the things that gave us like top grades was that project, that digital media project, that taxpayer education project, because what they say they find in a lot of Caribbean countries is that enough information is not out there for taxpayers to know. But by that time, I'd already implemented that project, and that was off the ground. So we got top grades in that, but what I want to continue to do is to continue to upgrade that, be able to help my colleagues to establish e-filing and those sort of things, which is right currently in the pipeline, because that helps in tracking, in being able to track taxpayers across the whole island, including Barbados, in terms of taxes, and just have information available so that you can do the requisite cross-checking. And speaking about cross-checking, that is part of my mandate too in using my degree, because yes, education is important, but my degree doesn't need my degree to do education. So what my degree would mostly be used for is analysis. So currently, as I said, we don't have a lot of analytical skills and tools to work with. So with studying this degree, we'll be able to analyze and say, okay, this sector needs help, whether it's education, or they need help in getting them registered, or they need help in just general compliance, paying their taxes, whatever they need information. And so I will be able to do that analysis. And also, I will also help with the legal side. So after we've educated, after we've done that operational side and determined, okay, this is what these sectors need, and provided it for them, and they're still not compliant, that is when I would be able to be an expert witness and analyze data to say, okay, this particular taxpayer needs to get a reckoning in court, basically. So that is what my degree will be for
Well, that's
at the
great.
department.
Now, what you're studying seems it's such a heavy, serious subject, but you're a fun girl. I can see it in your nails. Could you show us your nails very quickly? Which tells us you have real personality right there, Malika. So what do you do for fun?
Well, I like the beach. I really, really like the beach. Nothing more serene than that. I also hike from time to time. We like at work, my colleagues in my section, we basically have a hiking group where we go to different places on the island, hills, mountains, and I like that not only because I get to interact with my colleagues on a different basis, but I also love exploring. And that's one of the things I also like about Portsmouth too. It's so beautiful and it's really worth exploring, and the UK in general. So that's basically what I do in my spare time.
Well, and apart from learning Mandarin as well, so there's a lot that you do that we know.
Yes. How could I forget that? Yes. I am learning Mandarin and I'm loving it. I'm actually preparing to continue it at Portsmouth, actually.
Well done. Well, Miss Goodwin, we are so proud of you today, you know, for one, being a recipient of a Chevening Scholarship, but for the course of study that you're taking and your intention on your return to the Caribbean to use what you've learned to be able to help all of us in the region as well, to position ourselves better and to be a lot more accountable in what we do as well in business and in government. So Malika Goodwin, thank you for joining us. All the best in your studies there at Portsmouth, the University of Portsmouth in the UK, and we can't wait to read the stories about the excellence that you will definitely be producing as well. So for us, you're an exceptional young person, and we thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Pearson. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much indeed. Malika Goodwin of Antigua and Barbuda. We'll take a break here. When we come back, we'll meet another one of our Chevening scholars coming this time from St. Lucia. Stay with us. It's now 29 minutes to go to the hour of 8 o'clock, and I know you've been hearing over the weeks a lot about the Chevening Scholarship, and you're wondering, how can I know more? Well, are you dreaming of pursuing a master's degree in the UK? Well, how about a fully funded Chevening Scholarship? If it sounds like you, then you're encouraged to join on Thursday the 7th of October, at 6 o'clock in the evening for the Chevening Application Top Tip webinar. It's a webinar coming up, Top Tip webinar, hosted by the British High Commission in Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, along with a special panel of Chevening alumni from Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Then, in that online forum, that webinar, you will get all of your answers to your burning questions from the panel, members who have been mastered the Chevening application process, and a whole lot more. So look at it, it's right there on your screen. You need to register via the social media channels, the UK in Barbados and EC on Facebook, the UK in Barbados EC on Facebook, or go to the UK in Caribbean on Instagram or Twitter. It's on Zoom. Register as soon as you possibly can because it's coming up on Thursday, the 7th of October. Do not miss it. It is going to be great exposure, great information, looking at the top tips for applying for a Chevening Scholarship. Speaking of which, we're going to travel across the seas now to our neighbours in St. Lucia and congratulate today Shadell Mathurin, who is a Chevening Scholar. Good morning to you, Shadell.
Good morning, Jason.
Thank you for joining us, Shadell, and well done. Congratulations on being chosen as one of those who has received a Chevening Scholarship, fully funded. And you're heading out to study what in the UK?
I'm studying an MSc in Global Health and Development from University College London.
Why have you chosen that course of study?
I would say that the time is right. But before that, I worked with refugees and asylum seekers from Venezuela who moved into Trinidad and Tobago. And in my work with pregnant women and young children in that social group, I noted that they were not accessing healthcare. And it made me think about what implications this would have for Trinidad and Tobago, the rest of the Caribbean. And I also thought about what other social groups did not have easy access to healthcare in our Caribbean islands. And that piqued my interest in the field. Of course, COVID-19 rolled about.
Changed the world.
And I saw that there was definitely a gap in the Caribbean region for global health professionals. And so that calcified my desire to go into this field.
You talked about your work in Trinidad. You're actually the Early Childhood Development Officer for an NGO in Trinidad and Tobago called Living Water Community. Talk to us a little bit about what the services offered there.
Okay, so Living Water Community is an NGO. It's also a faith-based organization in Trinidad and Tobago. They have quite a few what we call ministries. I worked particularly with the Ministry for Migrants and Refugees. And as the title suggests, we work with migrants and refugees and asylum seekers. In the last 2 years or so, we worked with predominantly migrants and refugees from Venezuela. And in my work there, I pretty much created stimulation, child protection, and healthcare programming for children and their parents who were below 5. They were not able to access national resources, and so our programming met their needs.
You clearly have a passion for people who need. And where did this heart of yours come from? Is there anybody whose example you are seeking to follow, or is this a natural part of you, Shadell?
I think it's a natural part of me. Initially, I did not acknowledge that part fully. I was en route to going into medicine, and then I sought to work with purpose and passion, and I found myself in the field of social work.
But no regrets, none whatsoever.
No, absolutely no regrets.
So talk to me about the day that you found out that you were successful in being a recipient of a Chevening Scholarship.
I don't think I remember the details particularly, but I think my sister and my friend Neve were more excited than I was, and so they were checking on the Chevening Facebook page more than I was. Chevening was a little delayed with the results.
Yes.
And so my friend messaged me the night before, but I missed it because I went to bed. But when I woke up the morning at about 8, I saw that she had messaged and said that Chevening had given an update, and they said that they would be sending out letters from that day, the 22nd of June, and for the rest of the week. So I automatically went to my email and I saw that there was a letter there. Now, let me preface this by saying that I have applied twice before this time. So I know what a rejection letter looks like. But I also know what the letter for a reserve candidate looks like. So I've gone through all of the stages, and so I knew that this letter in particular was different. So I was quite excited. Yes.
So, but why did you persist? You know, there's some who would have gotten rejection and given up. There's some who would have been shortlisted and still give up. But you persisted. Why?
I think I persisted in part because of my personality. I felt, by the time I applied, I felt like I was deserving of a Chevening scholarship and that I would get them to see that. And I was already invested. But also my colleagues, they encouraged me to persist, especially after I got the reserve candidacy. So I actually was not going to apply again this time, but one of my colleagues particularly called me and said, I think you should apply. I think you have what it takes, and I think you'll be successful this time around. So that is why I applied the final time. And I just wanted to be part of the Chevening community. I feel like it's a great community, a great network, and I think it will serve me well and the Caribbean well in the future.
You're quite right, because you're studying global health and development at the University College London, the University College London. Talk to me about when you're done with your studies, how do you see that global health and development coming back to the Caribbean, being able to assist and impact the lives of Caribbean people?
Right. So I am pretty much interested in the area of policy analysis and development. And just with the pandemic, we've seen that there are gaps in the Caribbean region. Gaps with respect to policy. We also have gaps in respect to communication, how we communicate information to the layman. And all of these things I would want to contribute towards when I get back home. Health promotion is a big thing. We have different social groups who access health differently. And I think it's important that we create policies and programs that would allow all groups to access equitably. So the person who cannot read should be able to have access to the necessary information so that they can access health. Similarly to the person who can read, and that's just one example. Also, I would hope that I can develop policy on a much grander scale. Similarly, as there are differences in access between social groups in St. Lucia, for example, or in the CARICOM region, there are differences in how countries access global health resources. And I think a very good example of that was the distribution of the COVID-19 vaccines.
Yes, vaccines, yes.
Different countries were able to access differently, and there was disparity in how we were able to access. And so I hope that I can contribute to the policy development across the region that would allow us to access equitably on the global stage.
You know, we don't live in a world on our own, so therefore viruses, diseases that impact larger territories because of travel through tourism will impact us as well. How does your study now help us to mitigate against, and how do we know to make sure that we are okay when those things occur?
Right, and you're very correct, and that is what the area of global health is concerned with. It is concerned with addressing the issues that already exist with respect to disparity, but it's also concerned with preparing, and preparing because of the very globalized world that we live in, preparing because our nations are exposed to climate change and natural disasters. And the area that I'm studying will give me the tools to be able to engage in the research and in policy development that would help us prepare so that we're not as harshly affected as if we were unprepared.
I think there's so much scope under which you'll be studying global health, because there's the health of women, the health of babies, the health of seniors, the health of men, the health of... There's so many areas that you're going to need to focus on, because there are different sections of our society that will require attention. And so as things happen, this is where your expertise will be called upon. Do you know how many others in the Caribbean will possess the skill sets that you will be pursuing?
No, I actually do not know, but I do know that there is great room for global health professionals. So if you are interested, please come along.
I agree with you on that one. Are you already in the UK?
I am actually.
When did
Today is my last day of quarantine, so
Mhm.
yay.
You can't wait to get on with it, get going with business.
Yeah.
And you chose the University College London. Why that place to study your Masters in Global Health and Development?
University College London has a great reputation across all academic spheres, but particularly they have an Institute for Global Health. And I noted that the lecturers are very active in the field and they are engaged in research. For example, my course coordinators are currently involved in research with respect to digital health, which is a fairly new area. We're looking at big data companies and how that can affect health outcomes. And so I wanted to be close to that kind of experience, actual experience in the field. And so that is why I chose University College London.
All right. How was it saying goodbye to your family and your friends in St. Lucia when you were flying off, boarding that British Airways plane or Virgin Atlantic? I'm not sure which one you took, but doesn't matter. How was it saying goodbye?
If I must confess, I quite like flying off. So I lived in Trinidad prior. And I love the adventure of living in a foreign land. But this time it was a little bittersweet, simply because St. Lucia has recorded an increase in COVID-19 cases. And we never know when things will get close to home. So it was a little bittersweet. I cherished the time I had with my family a little bit more. And I was a little more sad than I usually am, but I was still quite excited for this new adventure, if I must confess.
I understand you completely. I love it indeed. So Chanel, you know, we're so proud of you here in Barbados, not just as a Chevening scholar, but also for the work that you are doing, that you will continue to do. Your ministry with the work in Trinidad and Tobago as well. You're clearly a global citizen, and because of that, we want to compliment you here in Barbados as well, to identify you as one of our exceptional young people of the region, to celebrate all that you've been able to achieve thus far, and will celebrate what you will achieve in the future as well. Chanel Matherin, thank you for joining us. Congratulations, and do the very best you can.
Thank you so much for having me, Pearson, and thank you for your congratulations.
You're very welcome.
I look forward to making the region proud.
Yes, we are too. Thank you very, very much indeed.
Okay,
all right,
it's now
bye-bye. 16 minutes to go to the hour of 8 o'clock. We're coming back. It's Founders Week of the LSD School, and so we'll be celebrating with one of their alumni a little bit of what she's doing. Coming right back after this. 12 minutes now to go to 8 o'clock here on Morning Barbados this Thursday morning, Exceptional Youth Day. Don't forget, if you're interested in being a Chevening Scholar, there's going to be on Thursday the 7th of October at 6 p.m. an online webinar looking at the Chevening application top tips. You don't want to miss it. October the 7th, 6 p.m. Look at your screens. Look right there. That's right. The Barbados and Eastern Caribbean Chevening Application Top Tips webinar hosted by the British High Commissions in Bridgetown, Castries, Queenstown, St. George's and St. John's. Join online by registering as soon as you possibly can. It's going to be done on Zoom, but you need to register on their social media channels by going to on Facebook, UK in Barbados and EC, or on Twitter or Instagram, UK in Caribbean. And that's where you get all of your registration details. Let's continue now, as this is National Youth Week in Barbados as well. It's Founders Week for the LRC School as well, and this is where we've gone, the LRC School, to find our next exceptional young person. Her name is Jamie Leacock. She owns already Stones Handmade Jewelry. Good morning to you, Jamie.
Morning, Pearson.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Good. I can see your creativity already worn on you, Jamie. Well done.
Yeah.
So you operate now and own Stones Handmade Jewelry. The name alone talks a little bit about your business. So tell us about Stones Handmade Jewelry and why that name.
Stones is basically crystals. So that's where the name derived from. Stones jewelry is made from authentic handmade crystals, and I use both raw crystals and polished, and it's more so of a spiritual journey.
Wow. It's part of your spiritual journey, and that's for a lot of people, I think, also going to be very critical because they're all handmade, they're all natural, and using the value of crystals. Her business is called Stones Handmade Jewelry, and I know a number of you like to know, how do we find them after the show? Well, we'll share with now. Her Instagram page is Stones with a Z, Stones Barbados. On Instagram, that's where you can find her. Let's see if we get Jamie. Good. So you're unstuck now, Jamie. Jamie, it is Founders Week for the LRC School. That's where you went to school at the LRC School. Congratulations. How do you feel as one who would have gone through a beautiful educational facility? Now, how do you feel about your school? She's stuck again. But she has a lot to say. Don't look at me like that. So Jamie Stones Barbados is her Instagram page. It's Founders Week. So let's see if we get that balanced out there to talk a little bit more to Jamie. Don't forget to, LRC School is celebrating Founders Week, and they've been having a number of activities. If you're a past student of the LRC School, you need to go online and check it out and see how you can engage. Every day there's something motivational done by either the current students and staff or past students, those who would have gone through those hallowed halls at the LRC School there in Black Rock. And so I encourage you to go on to social media and talk a little bit more about hear more about what the LRC School is doing this Founders Week. Now, don't forget Stones Handmade Jewelry on Instagram. You go to Stones, S-T-O-N-E-Z, Barbados on Instagram, and you'd find all of the great handcrafted work, gemstones of Jamie Leacock. Browse the page, like the page, engage the page, and see what her spiritual journey and how that can intersect with yours, and how she's using some of those very natural products, the crystals, to help lift your spirits or add to your spirits as well. So we're going to try to get Jamie back in just a little while. And she's also, by the way, as you can see, she's found herself also there in Whole Town at the Massey Complex, showcasing in the Nudge some of what she's been able to create and craft just for you, lovingly done. She has her own business, and it's good because she makes jewelry that she believes can offer balance for both males and females. Crystal jewelry, whether it's from the ring to the necklace to the earring to anything that would add a balance to your experience as well. Inspired by her own spiritual journey as she grew more in love with life itself, and she's wanting just to create jewelry that means much more than just a pretty piece, rather something that told a deeper story. So men, they're for you too, from the hand bracelet to the chains around your neck to everything. Handwear, neckwear, earwear, everything. So Jamie's back. She's unstuck now. Jamie, come back to me. Good, there you are. I've been telling people about your business. I hope I didn't say the wrong thing.
No. You've been doing really well, Pearson. I'm so sorry about that.
That's all right. That's all right. It happens on the internet. I know how it goes. So tell us a little bit more about your business. You're the best person to tell us about it.
Okay, so as you said before, it's basically a business made with authentic handmade crystals. I make.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been in this business now?
From 2018, I started. It was a hobby from the beginning, and I dabbled a little bit on YouTube, did some tutorials, and made it my own.
And now, how has it been going though? Is it really reaping the rewards that you always knew it would?
Well, entrepreneurship is pretty hard. It is very hard, actually. I'm not gonna lie. There have been a lot of lows, but honestly, there have been a lot of highs and a lot of unexpected highs that I am extremely grateful for. So it's been good so far, and I'm blessed.
And I'm glad to know you're blessed indeed. So how do you pick yourself up from the lows? How did you find it within you, Jamie, to say, I'll keep going because there's something good here?
Yeah, well, honestly, I believe that with life, there are highs and lows, and it's just balancing it. So I don't believe that there would always be highs. And throughout my life, not only with my business, but even at LSD, you know, it was always balancing and having to learn to keep going through when things aren't easy, but enjoying it when they are. So.
You're so well spoken, Jamie. I know a lot of times people think, you know, to be an entrepreneur, you're just so focused on your business, you don't look at the balance, the totality of life and the value of education. I want you to talk to me a little bit about the experience at the LSE School, education in general, and how it is helping you today in your business.
Well, at Ellerslie, I was very quiet. I was not as outspoken. I was very nervous. But the thing is that I was able to spread my wings the most there. I came out of my box more so in the form and the ending of full form. But I had some teachers behind me majority of the time. My whole family went to Ellerslie also, and they knew that I can sing. Yeah. So my teachers, my music teacher was behind me constantly, asking me to join the choir or to participate in our, I can't remember the name now, but we had a music, we had a talent show, and I was encouraged highly to join, and I did so, and that's where I got my boldness now from. I guess that's where it really, you know, was born that night. So
well, that's fantastic. You say you want to spread good energy, you want people just to be true to themselves as well, and I can see you're wearing one of your pieces right there on your thumb. It's a beautiful ring. It's beautiful indeed.
Thank you very much.
Where can people come find all of this beautiful art that you create and craft?
Okay, so right now we are located, well, we are offering all products online, but we also are available in our Nudge booth, and that booth runs every weekend in Massey stores, but it's Massey Warrens and Massey Sunset Crest. So you can also find us and other local artists in Massey Warrens or Massey Sunset Crest every weekend. And yeah, we'll be there, or you can hit us up online and we'll be there too. We do delivery, or you can collect.
This is beautiful because all the pieces we're seeing, you do a wide range of products, including waistbands, waist beads, anklets, bracelets, crystal tiaras, crowns, earrings, rings, all crafted with semi-precious stones, pearls, and wrapped in wire. And certainly when anyone wears your product from Stone's handmade jewelry, they're going to be one of a kind, but they're also very precious. And then you want to align it with one's natural spirit and one's natural personality, right?
Yes, please.
So somebody
they
tells
all
me
carry meaning.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, sorry. So, I'm just adding that they all carry meanings as well. So not only are you carrying around something beautiful, but something that is way more, powerful in terms of the meaning that it has behind it. So.
Right. So it could be you're simply a phone call away. 238-8605. 238-8605. Her name is Jamie Leacock. Her business is called Stones Barbados. You saw the Instagram page there. Stones, STONEZ Barbados, all spelled out. On Instagram, she's at Nudge at Massey Sunset Crest and Massey Warrens, right? That's what you said, right?
Yep.
And just a phone call away as well. And so we can all learn to experience all that Jamie Leacock has to offer as the owner, operating her own business. She says there's some downs, but there's some brilliant highs that she's experienced as well. So businesses like that, from time to time, but you pick yourself up and you just keep going as well. Jamie Leacock, congratulations on your ownership of your business and doing it so very well. We wanted to celebrate you today as one of our exceptional young people. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Pearson.
You're very, very welcome. And that's it for today on Morning Barbados. Our young people are doing fantastic things and we want you to encourage them still, support them always, and let's celebrate the best of who they are. That's it for today. Thank you for joining us. If it be God's will, we'll join you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.